Fantastic. Well, welcome to the exciting world of multifamily real estate, everybody. Happy New Year. I hope you all are doing well and all your families are doing fantastic also. We are particularly excited as XSITE Capital to have you today. I am Dr. Julius, the CEO and co-founder at XSITE Capital, and your host today. Co-hosting with me today are my co-founders, our Director of Acquisitions, Mr. Tenny, and our Director of Operations, Mr. Leslie Awesome. And today we are particularly excited because we are going to be discussing with you how to make 2022 your best year ever. And so we cannot wait to have a nice, robust conversation with you and hopefully get some insights from you all. Excuse me, I'm just trying to, yep, there we go. I hope you can all see my slides here today. Can I get yes? Just thumbs up?
Sure, I can see it clearly.
Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, so we are super excited to really share with you how we think that you can get to achieve all your goals for 2022. And what makes us qualified to be able to share this information with you. At XSITE Capital, we in 18 months were able to take a company from $0 to $124 million in asset under management. In the process of doing that, we raised about $12.8 million from investors, and we've provided free education to more than 1,000 individuals. So, and that's amongst other accomplishments that we've been able to be fortunate to achieve in the past 18 months. How did we do it? Well, we did it by setting goals that were big, that made us super uncomfortable, but that we felt were very achievable. And our goal today is to share some of the insights that we've learned over the last 2 years, that maybe you could get one gem or two from them and apply it to your personal goals. And hopefully 2022 can then be an incredible, incredible year for us all. So we'll move right on to it. We're going to discuss today the 6 actionable steps to achieving extraordinary goals in 2022. And the first goal, the first principle of those 6 is to set goals that stretch you, that make you completely uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable with having discomfort, because in that discomfort exists a whole lot of growth. If your goals that you're setting for 2022 seems easily achievable, then it's definitely not big enough. Go back to the drawing board and create even a bigger goal. And make sure that your goals are big, that they are unique, that they are very purposeful, and they are strong. Like Jim Rohn put it, goals are like a magnet, they pull. The stronger they are, the more purposeful they are, the bigger they are, the more unique they are, the stronger the pull. So you have to make sure that your goals are essentially stretch you to almost your limit. And when you do that, you are actually able to achieve some incredible things. And also, it's not just enough to set a goal. It's important to be able to reverse engineer those goals into actionable steps that you can take on a daily basis to ultimately achieve those goals. When you have a goal without actions, you're just dreaming. So you have to kind of create a system to keep track and follow up those actions, follow up with actions towards your goal. At XSITE Capital, what that adapting a system looked like for us was implementing a process called traction. After closing our first deal in July of 2020 with our mentors, that was the Griffin, the 49 unit in DC, we were taking action and working and underwriting, but we, for some reason, did not achieve any significant or tangible results in those 6 months following that deal closure. So we knew that we needed to do something differently. We needed to set bigger goals. We needed to set tangible goals, SMART goals, they call them, you know? And so we then implemented a process called traction in January of 2021. And can you believe within 4 months of implementing that process, we closed our first deals as the lead general partners or sponsors. What is traction? Traction is essentially like a process, a system that teaches the entrepreneurial operating system, which is just a group of concepts and practical tools that can be easily applied to a small business. At XSITE, what that did for us was it helped us to clarify our short-term and long-term goals. It really helped us to easily break down our goals into actionable steps that each one of us can be responsible for. It broke down and made our meetings way more efficient. We started to get more done in an hour to an hour and a half than we were getting done in 2 hours, 3 hours meetings. And it helped us identify the right people for the right positions in the company. It also gave us a nice, efficient method for tracking our actions towards our goals. And boy, did it work. It worked amazingly because within 4 months, as you can see in our vision and traction organizer here, from January 2021, one of the goals we had was to close one deal. Guess what? We did it in that first quarter. By April 2021, we closed our first deal as lead sponsors. Our goal was to make at least $150,000 in revenue. Guess what? We made over $200,000 in revenue. Our goal was to onboard at least 60 investors. Guess what? We onboarded at least 80 investors. We also had a goal of hosting at least one investor event, and we were able to also achieve that amongst other goals. When you set these goals, you also have to have incredible determination, consistency, and tenacity as you press towards those goals. Some of the examples for us at XSITE was we never missed a meeting. We have a meeting every Monday night at 8 o'clock, and nobody ever misses that meeting. Matter of fact, nobody ever comes late to the meeting. You come late to the meeting, you drop down and give us 20 push-ups. So we had ways of keeping each other accountable. And when everybody showed up early, there was no questions about the focus that we all had towards our goals. Not only that, there were times when members of the group of the partnership were traveling internationally, and we actually, and whoever was traveling internationally would actually stay up till 3 a.m. in the morning sometimes to make that 8 p.m. Eastern time meeting. So we were so dedicated to these goals. We were so focused on these goals that nothing was going to make us deviate from that focus. Also, another example was when our director of acquisitions, Tenny, drove 3 hours to and 3 hours back, so a total of 6-hour drive for a 15-minute meeting with the broker. The broker couldn't believe it. It was like, wow, you actually did the drive just to have this 15-minute meeting with me. Guess what? That was the same broker who gave us our first deal, that same deal that we closed in April of 2020, our first deal as lead sponsors, which is that deal that we closed in April of 2021. So when you have this type of determination and consistency and tenacity, you will always reach your goals. And one thing I always say is that consistency beats intensity anyways, any day. Because it's always easy for us to be intense at one point, but most people are able to be intense for a little bit and then they fall right off their goals. But if you just continue to take one step in front of each other and continue to move towards your goals, ultimately you are guaranteed to achieve them. And here I'll let our Director of Operations, Leslie, take over and talk about the next two principles.
Thank you, our CEO and Director of Investor Relations, Dr. Julius. Thank you for starting off the presentation in a great way. So like our CEO said, to make 2022 the best year ever for you, you got to set big goals. But sometimes these goals are way beyond your realm of possibility right now. And to go after those goals, you got to have unwavering faith. You got to maintain unwavering faith towards pursuing your goals, regardless of how difficult it seems at the moment. Next slide, please. So many people, everybody has a different, when you call the word faith, everybody has a different definition for that word faith. For us, faith can be best described as Nelson Mandela puts it. Faith is the ability to see the invisible, believe in the impossible, and trust in the unknown. Again, faith is the ability to see the invisible, believe in the impossible, and trust in the unknown. Now, these goals that you set to yourselves might seem invisible and impossible when you set them at the beginning, but you got to maintain that faith that you are capable of assuming these goals. What these big goals do for you when you set them, it does stretches you and show you the true potential that you have as a human being. We're sitting here talking, when we started this business, having $124 million of assets under management was a stretch. It was way beyond our scope of possibility, but we maintained that faith that we could go after this goal. We learned some of these principles and we maintained that throughout the journey. With the example of faith, sometimes it's like driving in the dark, like you in your car driving in the dark, in a dark street, no street lights, and all you could see is 100 yards away. But you know your car is going to take you to those 100 yards. And after those 100 yards, you're going to see the light that's going to take you to the next 100 yards. So that's all you need when you're going after this goal. Just take the first step. You don't have to have it all figured out. Take the first step and the next step will keep coming and you keep moving forward. A good example of that unwavering faith, again, was exhibited by our amazing partner, Tenny, Director of Acquisitions, when he sold his home here in Maryland and packed his whole family and moved down to Charlotte, North Carolina, so we could have boots on the ground and be present in the market. Moving to Charlotte, we didn't know anybody in Charlotte. We didn't have any groundwork in Charlotte. Nobody told us, come to Charlotte, hey, we'll get this all figured out for you. But Tenny had that faith, and we had that faith behind Tenny, that when we move down to that market, we're going to take the steps that are necessary to keep moving forward. And when you show that kind of determination, tenacity, and faith, the results start coming. Next slide, please. Again, maintain that unwavering faith. Unwavering faith is something that has really, really helped us in our growth throughout this journey. We have unwavering faith in each other. We genuinely believe in each other's capability to live up to each other, to our respective expectations. We rely on each other a lot. We know that together as a group, we can grow and do incredible things together. And we've been able to accomplish that within this short period of time. And we expect that you too can go out and do this for yourselves as well. We also have unwavering faith in the business model. That is why it's so much joy for us to be able to talk about this business model to our investors. You got to believe in whatever it is that you're doing, whatever business that you're going into. If it's a business, as a matter of fact, any business that you create will need sales. So having that unwavering faith in your business makes it very easy for you to go out and present it to somebody else. For us, we truly believe in this business model and its ability to provide incredible amount of value to members of our community. That's why we talk about it with so much passion. That's why we enjoy talking to people about it. That's why you hear us saying we're going around preaching the gospel of multifamily investing, because truly it is a strong asset class and we're grateful to be part of it. So maintain that unwavering faith as you go after your goals for 2022. Next slide, please. And number 3 is to serve. Serve others. Next slide. Our philosophy is, I think that's one. Our philosophy is give. We love to give. There's an incredible amount of value when you give to other people. There's an incredible amount of value that comes back to you when you give to other people. Like Robin Sharma best puts it, the fastest way to get what you want is to find somebody else who wants the same thing and give it to them. That has been our philosophy when we started XSITE. Right from the onset, even before we could even know how to figure out our left from our right, we decided to start a meetup so we could educate other people. And along the way, we had to educate ourselves so we could educate other people. And when we kept doing that, the more value we give to people, the more value we got back. For example, when we started that meetup, again, we didn't have that much knowledge about multifamily, but we wanted to give. And during our very first meetup, the first person that showed up in that meetup is an investor that owns more than 4,000 units across the US. And he ended up being our mentors. So our desire to give value to other people ended up giving us more value than we could ever think of. And that has been what has been happening to us on our journey all along the way. We give a lot to our community and we love serving our community. We love giving value to our community. We serve our community. We serve each other as partners. We serve outside partners of the business as well. We serve our investors in many ways, including providing great opportunities for them to grow their wealth. And one of our fundamental principles as XSITE Capital is to provide a platform where everyone can grow. And you guys are all welcome to be part of that platform as well. Next slide, please. So we provide free education, which includes weekly underwriting calls. We've never missed that. I think we've missed one underwriting call where we took a break over the last 9 months, I believe, that we've been running the class. Every Tuesday night at 8 p.m., we are here to provide free education to anybody that is willing to learn about multifamily underwriting. We host monthly educational events like this one, where we bring in experts from all over the country to come and give value to members of our community. We host quarterly events for our investors, where we provide educations to different aspects that are related to wealth growth. And we mentor a lot of individuals in our community, and we continue to do that and love mentoring more people. And we've become more vocal in our respective communities about what we do, because we want to educate. Our philosophy is we will teach you how to do this. Even if you invest with us or not, it's important that you know that this asset class exists, this opportunity exists that you could take advantage of to grow wealth for you and your family. We adopted the abundance mindset, which is the belief that there's more than enough to go around. And there truly is more than enough to go around. So we do not lose anything by sharing everything that we know with anybody. If you have any questions about anything, we will share it out with you. And we encourage you as members of the community to adopt these same principles and same mindset. When you start going out there with the desire to serve, when you start going out there with the desire to give, a lot more opportunities open up for you, and you connect more with more people in a very, very genuine manner. And whatever goals that you set for yourself, you start seeing yourself getting closer and closer to those goals. So serve, give, give, give. And at this stage, I'm going to pass it over to our wonderful Director of Acquisitions, Tenny, to take it on from here.
Oh boy, it's going to be hard to match that, Leslie. What an outstanding job, man. Thank you so much for passing it over to me. Thank you all for joining. Like my partners already shared us, we're going to be sharing with you guys a bunch of tips on things you can do for 2022 to make it an amazing year. The fourth item on the list is enjoy the journey. And what does that mean? Basically, every business you start has a process, right? You have to take the first step to start. And as you start, sometimes it becomes very mundane. It becomes very hard. You go through ups and downs. You face a lot of challenges, and sometimes you want to give up, right? But what we've done as partners is to encourage each other, to enjoy each part of the whole process. For example, in 2021, we had a huge goal, and our goal was to close 4 deals. I was responsible to go look for those deals. And I was responsible to interface with those brokers and have conversations with them, look them in their eyes, and they give you a lot of promises like, hey, listen, you guys are going to have this deal. But at the end of the day, did we end up closing 4 deals last year? No. But in the process, we were able to grow a lot. We were able to put ourselves in positions to negotiate huge amount of deals, right? We were able to close 2 deals and had 1 under contract. But guess what? We had a big goal of 4. Were we disappointed? Yes. But were we excited about our accomplishment? Absolutely. And guess what? We 3 of us and Braden, we celebrate our success in the process. We celebrate our failure. There's one of the deals that we worked on that we were best and final. the broker said, you guys got the deal. You guys are going to win this deal. And we were kind of celebrating. At the end of the day, they pulled the plug. Somebody else won the deal, right? But we come around, sat down and talked about it. We're like, listen, this is part of the process. Like Julius always says, all we need is one out of 100. Because sometimes you see 100 opportunity, you pursue it, you might not get it, but that one that you get makes the whole difference in the world. So I would encourage you, whatever kind of business you're doing, multifamily, any kind of endeavor for 2022, just look for a way to enjoy it. If you're not able to enjoy it, don't do it. Or look for partners that can encourage you to look at the process as fun. So sometimes we look at it as a game. We start playing games. We've tried to figure out how many LOIs can we submit in a month, and how many rejections we're going to get, right? And sometimes we start playing this game, it starts becoming a whole lot of fun for us. So I'd encourage you to enjoy the journey as you continue to build your business. Next slide, please. So the next item on the list is partnership. Partnership. There's no way on earth I would have been able to do this business without Julius Oni and Leslie Awasom. There is no way on earth. There's no way I could actually conceive the fact that we can take down $124 million of assets under management. Actually, I had a conversation with one of my friends recently, and I was like, hey, listen, I'm negotiating a deal with a broker. And I went by myself. He was like, dude, how do you go and negotiate a $20 million deal by yourself or a $50 million by yourself? Don't you need your partners? I said, I do need my partners. And the trust that they've given to me to go sit down with these brokers is what propels me. They've given me confidence that if I go out there, I'm representing all three of us, right? That's partnership, that we're able to trust one another and we're able to move one another from one step to another, right? For example, it says here that if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go forward, you go together. Now, in addition to having partnership within XSITE Capital, we've been able to extend our partnership beyond just the company. For example, the key sponsors we use for a couple of our deals already are people that we met about 2 years ago. We create relationship with them. We create genuine relationship with them and build it over time. And when it was time for us to use that relationship, we tapped into it. And guess what? They came through, right? So we believe in the power of community. So if you think you can do this by yourself, honestly, you cannot when it comes to building a multi-billion-dollar real estate empire or whatever your goal is. If you're trying to do it by yourself, it might be a little tough. You can do it, but it might be a little tough. So we encourage you to think about partnership in your community, your place of work, in your family, in your friends, the people that shares the same kind of mindset. If you have that kind of partnership, it can take you to the next level. Next slide, please. And one of the things that has helped us as a company to propel our growth is genuine relationship. We genuinely trust one another. Let me give you guys an example, right? So if our CEO doesn't mind, recently we made a trip to Nigeria, right? I've known Julius now going to 2 years, right? And we got there. I was going to go spend stay in a hotel, and Julius was like, "Why would you go stay in a hotel, man? Come on to my house. Let's share my house together, right?" And guess what? Something came up. He had to come back to the States. And he was like, "Yeah, you go ahead, stay over there at the house, right?" If there was no trust between us, there was no way he would have said, "Okay, you know what? Just take access to my house. Here's the keys and do whatever you want to do in the house." You see what I'm saying? So we've built trust within our relationship. We've been able to work together to understand each other, to be able to trust one another that when it comes to actually taking steps to move the company from here to there, we believe in ourselves, we believe in our abilities, right? And that has actually helped us to grow to where we are right now. Also, what we've done is we've created relationship with mentors. We've created relationship with our competitors. We've had an opportunity to be on a deal where we realized that one of our competitors we can partner with them to be stronger to take down the deal. And at that point, the broker was like, man, these guys are coming up with strong force. How come initially they didn't think about this? And because of that combination of forces with our competitors, we were able to get to best and final. So right now, if we have a deal, the brokers, they want to take a look at, they want to call that group up and say, hey, listen, I like the group. I like what you guys presented. So we encourage you guys to have the ability to go out there and partner up with your peers, your competitors, your circle of friends, the ones that shares the same mindset with you, and that way you move from where you are now to the next level. Next slide, please.
And
at
finally,
this point, I'm going to move it now back to our CEO, Dr. Julius.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tenny. Really appreciate you. I didn't expect you to share that anecdote, but thanks so much for highlighting that. But shifting your identity is super, super important. We made this the last point and the last principle that you need to adopt to get your goals accomplished this year, because we truly believe that you need to start identifying as the person that you want to be so that you can eventually become that person. I personally had to go through this identity evolution, because when we first started to decide that we wanted to form this partnership, I went through a little bit of an identity crisis. As many of you know, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, and I fully identified for the past several years as an orthopedic surgeon. So I started to ask myself, is anyone ever going to take me in seriously, you know, as a real estate investor? Or in the reverse, is anyone ever going to take me seriously anymore as an academic surgeon if I start talking about real estate? So I had to kind of evolve from that limiting mindset and realize that, yes, I can be an orthopedic surgeon and I can be a real estate investor. And once I started to learn that, and that evolution came from reading a lot of books, listening to a lot of podcasts, you know, enjoying some of the free education on YouTube, on the internet, like Bigger Pockets, hiring coaches to help work on the mindset, attending conferences and seminars to network with other people that are already doing things similar to what I want to do. And by doing all of those things, I was able to start now introducing myself as, I am Dr. Julius Oni, I'm an orthopedic surgeon, but I'm also a real estate investor. And so I want to encourage you today, whatever it is that you're aspiring to be, whatever goals you're trying to achieve, start to identify as that person. And once you start identifying as that person, you will ultimately become that person, for sure. And to achieve that, you need to, you know, take advantage of all the books that are available related to whatever your goals are. You need to take advantage of podcasts, YouTube videos, hire coaches if you need to, attend conferences and seminars, because they are great places to network. And if you get to that point in your growth where you're starting to feel a little overwhelmed, start to hire employees so that they can start working in the business while you work on the business. And this is so important as you evolve from the person you are right now to the person that you wish to be. Tony Robbins says that the strongest force in human personality is the need to be consistent with how we stay consistent with how we define ourselves. And at XSITE Capital, we've defined ourselves as a group of transparent individuals filled with integrity that are going to hop on the mountain and spread the gospel of multifamily to everybody in our communities. And that, when I say our community, I'm talking about our community of professionals, of healthcare professionals, of immigrants, of underrepresented minorities, all of these different communities that we represent, that we stand at the intersection of, need us. and they need us to present these opportunities to them. They need us to expand their mindset. They need us to help us grow their mind and to grow their wealth. And that is exactly what we set out to do. And that's exactly what we have been fortunate to achieve in the last 2 years. And we are super excited about the year 2022, because yes, in the past 2 years, we've been able to purchase these properties that you see on the screen right now, but we are super excited about what the future holds. And using these same principles that we just shared with you, we expect to continue to evolve and grow even further and expand on our goals as we achieve them in 2022. And just to recap, the 6 principles to achieve extraordinary goals in 2022 is: 1, set goals that stretch you. If you're comfortable with your goals, you got to go back to the drawing board, and make sure that your goals make you uncomfortable, because in that discomfort is a lot of growth. Have unwavering faith that you can achieve your goals. And when you have unwavering faith, when you have that extraordinary faith and you apply extraordinary effort with it, you will be able to achieve unbelievable things just like we did. And we try to continue to do. You have to serve others. You have to give, not with the expectation of receiving anything back, but when you give and you just give just to provide value to others, the universe has this very special way of giving you back value and blessings in multiple ways that beyond your wildest expectations. I have seen it in action, and I encourage you to do the same. Enjoy the journey. We truly have enjoyed the journey. I always tell my partners, I didn't realize that I would find something else that I loved as much as replacing people's hips and knees. But while I love that, and I will always continue to do that until my fingers can't work anymore, in some regards, I have fallen in love with multifamily real estate. I've fallen in love with business. I've fallen in love with growing wealth. I'm falling in love with growing my mindset and helping others grow their mindset. So enjoy the journey, because that is really where the fun is. A lot of people, when they eventually achieve their goals, tend to say that it's not exactly what they expected. So, but when you're enjoying the journey, then it's all worth it. Even if your goals, achieving your goals, it may be underwhelming to you, but if you enjoy the journey, then it'll be worth it. So create partnerships, because if you want to go fast, yeah, go by yourself. But if you want to go far and wide and have the greatest impact in this world and fully live into your purpose, then you have to create partnerships. You have to partner with others, because this world that we live in is a team sport. Real estate is a team sport. Any business is a team sport, regardless of what it is. And finally, you have to shift your identity. You have to start to identify as that person that you aspire to be, because when you do that, then you become that person. And with that, we thank you for listening and taking the time to join us today. We will open the floor for questions, and please you don't have to limit the questions to this topic at this point. Feel free to ask us any questions about our origin stories, about goal setting, about the actual specific things that we've done, or things that you are struggling with at this point. And to the best of our abilities, we'll try to engage. And even if you just have comments, maybe you want to add a little more flavor to what we've presented today, we welcome that too. Thank you again, and Happy New Year.
And also would like to see your beautiful faces. It's the new year. I would like to see your smiles, and if you're comfortable with it, we would love to see you all.
Absolutely. So we literally segueing into the networking and question and answers part of this meetup. I think some questions are already coming into the chat.
Yes, we have some questions. Yep.
Fantastic. So can Leslie start reading those questions for us, or?
Sure. Combe asked about conferences that we plan on attending next year, and he's curious to see what everybody else in the group plans on attending. So there are multiple conferences out there. I was just talking to someone about the best ever conference. It's a really great one. I know Bigger Pockets conference is one that we plan on attending this year. But one of the things that we've talked about as partners is not just focusing just on real estate conferences, going to other conferences that we could go over there and educate others about the business that we do and just bring them more education into this world. So that's something that we're going to be doing this year as well. And the second question is from Elizabeth Marshall. Are you able to talk about the current acquisition, land bank?
Julius, absolutely. We'll be more than happy to talk about that. The current acquisition. Actually, Braden, can you tee up the video, because we may be able to display that while I talk. Yeah. And pretty much the land bank acquisition is a 113 unit, 17.45 million acquisition in Columbia, South Carolina, Class A property that was converted from a bank building to apartments in 2016. We are planning to own this property for about 7 years, and expecting that the average annual returns in this property will be about 19 to 25%, with equity multiples of 2.3x to 2.7x over the 7-year-old. We also have a secondary business plan, depending on the market conditions, to potentially refinance, give the investors back their initial capital and some, and keep them in the deal long term if the market conditions at that time does not favor a sale. So because obviously there are significantly increased cap rate compressions at this point, and the market is relatively hot, as most of you would know, we want to make sure that we are prepping for any potential market conditions in the future, because whatever must go up must come down at some point. But we are very confident in our underwriting and the projections that we've given, and we are super excited for those of you that have already self-committed to go on this ownership journey with us, to join us in the ownership group of this property. For those of you that have not, just to let you know, we made this particular deal public about 2 weeks ago, and we have to raise about $5.75 million for it, so close to $6 million. And we already, I'm happy to report to you that we already have at least $4.8 million of that amount in self-commitment. So well beyond 75%. And we are fast going to a place, hopefully, where we can close this. The finalized documents for this particular property, the operation agreement, the subscription agreement, the private placement memorandum are all being worked on right now. And we should have that ready to go in the next few days so that you can get onboarded into our private investor portal for those of you that have self-committed, and start wiring your money, because we would like to wrap this one up pretty quickly before the end of January, so that we can move on to the next acquisitions. If you have any specific questions, I am right here, and my partners are right here to answer them for you. That was just a quick version, I suppose. Thank you, Braden. You could take that off now. And Braden, if you don't mind, just putting in the soft commit form into the chats, just for those people that are interested. Please throw that in there.
And we'll have a webinar tomorrow evening on the deal that will go into very much detail about every aspect of the deal and answer more questions. So if you have more questions, yeah.
Absolutely.
Got a question from Sonia. I think we had 7% inflation and expecting it to continue rising. How do you think this may affect your investments?
Yeah, go ahead, Leslie.
That's a very good question. And that's probably one of the reasons why we are really grateful and excited to be in this business at this point in time. So traditionally, historically, multifamily investments have always been a good hedge against inflation. It's been one of the assets that is a good hedge against inflation. And one of the reasons for this is rents typically rise faster than the rate of inflation. And we're already seeing that right now. For example, in the Colombia market that we're in, we own another property in that market where we've been able to increase rent organically by $150 since April when we closed on this deal. That is without doing any renovations. We've been able to increase rents by $150 per unit. So the rents are already outpacing the rate of inflation right now, and we expect that to continue to the business plan. So that's one of the reasons why we love this asset class, especially at this time of the climate. And the other thing that might happen due to inflation is interest rates will have to be increased in order to stabilize the economy, which the Feds are already talking about. And that is a beautiful thing, especially with the land bank asset that we have, because we have a fixed interest rate on it. Our interest rates on the property are fixed for the next 10 years, which means we already know what our interest rate is going to be going into it. So regardless of what the Fed does, it's not going to affect our cash flow in any way long-term or in our business plan. So buying the properties right in the right markets that are growing, right, it puts you at a very, very better position to go through any inflationary climate that you might experience.
Yeah. Mrs. Baker was asking, Charmaine Baker, could you share your goals for 2022? Oh yeah, we definitely can. We could give you the Cliff's Notes version. Goals are big because we've had to revise them. Because last year we thought we were gonna do 40 million in asset under management. We ended up doing way more than that. So this year we're hoping to buy at least $100 million worth of real estate. So $100 million in transactions this year, and we already started on a good note, and look forward to being able to do that. We also look forward to educating at least 3,000 individuals. Last year we were able to do at least 1,000 individuals. This year we want to expand our reach. We want to educate more people, let more people know that it is possible to invest in an asset class such as multifamily real estate. It is possible to take advantage of the tax benefits of investing in real estate. Things like cost segregation that some of you may not know, but that you can take advantage of and use to offset any passive income that you have, either coming from other rentals, either coming from dividend stocks, any passive income that you have. For example, someone who invested $100,000 in the land bank deal, for example, should be able to get at least $60,000 in passive losses. The property is appreciating, but you get passive losses because we do a cost segregation study where cost segregation experts come into the building and depreciate everything besides land and building. Everything besides that, the pavement, the appliances, all of this, the roof, everything gets depreciated, and then we pass on that depreciation right to you. It's powerful tool to like save on taxes. And then we want to be able to educate our investors that yes, you can use your retirement accounts to invest in these things. You just don't have to use cash. Granted, you don't get to take advantage of the tax benefits if you use the retirement accounts, but your retirement accounts, you just don't want to have them exposed, particularly your self-directed accounts, not your employee-directed ones, but your self-directed accounts, solo 401ks, self-directed IRAs. You could invest through those, and you could grow your wealth in those portfolios in an incredible fashion, between 15 to 20%, maybe even more average annual returns. It's incredible. So when I found out about multifamily real estate, I couldn't believe that I didn't know about it. I did a straw poll amongst my group of friends. No one knew about it. So I knew there was an opportunity here to take the information about this to our community. And thank God I decided to go on this journey with my partners, because the proof is in the pudding. the need in our community has been proven. It's a proven concept at this point. And the fact that all of us are here today, listening to this, learning, sharing information is proof that this is needed in our communities, and that there's greater things to be done as a group. Can you imagine all of us in this group right now coming together and investing together, going down and taking down a 20, 30, 40, $50 million property? The amount of wealth growth that you create with this type of approach is incredible. The property we just bought in April 2021 at $12.5 million, we tested the market with it in November, and it was valued at $17.5 million. 6 months later, 7 months later, it's valued at $5 million more. Is that always going to continue like that? Probably not. There are going to be ebbs and flows in the market, but that's the beautiful thing about this asset class. You can invest in it at every phase of the market. You can invest in it at every cycle of the market. And as far as you are being conservative with your underwriting and understanding that that the market is going to ebb and flow, and that sometimes you're going to be at the nadir or the apex of the market. As far as you understand where you are there, then you can underwrite it appropriately and still make significant money for your community of investors. As you can tell, I'm super excited about this.
And Julius, to piggyback on our goals, one of the things that we agreed as partners to do this year, we've selected a group of people to mentor that we've observed that they're really serious about taking the business to the next level. We're going to dedicate our time and resources to try to help them get to the next level. So we've selected a few people that we're going to work with this year. Hopefully they're able to stand up their own company and achieve great success. That's one of the goals we have as well.
Yeah, to Mrs. Baker's question, absolutely. That's we are planning to mentor a bunch of people so that other people can go out and do this themselves. That's one. Second, we're also planning to go on a charity trip. We actually, XSITE Capital is sponsoring a trip where we're going to go and replace people's hips and knees in lower to middle income countries, starting with Nigeria in March of 2021. And that's part of what we want to do. We want to be able to create impact, not just here, but all over where we have rich. So I think Jimmy Shorts was asking, do your rent agreement for tenants have an automatic inflation adjustment rider built in? Director of Operations, I'll let you take that.
Yes, it does, but it's on renewal. It's on renewal. So on renewal, we make, like, our property managers pretty much to test the market every month to look at what's going on in the market, where the rents are. So as the new renewals come in, we adjust to inflation. As new renewals come in, we adjust to inflation. So that's one of the things we've been able to do with the view, where we've been able to increase $150 in rent across the board on all new renewals that are coming. The ones that are coming in right now, the average is about 150, but the ones that are coming in right now are slightly above 150, and we adjust according to the market and according to occupancy of the property. Right now we are 99% occupied, which means there's still a lot of room to grow, and which is one of the things that we like about the market. And I think Dr. Schwartz also asked about what markets we focused in on and why, and if we're looking at any rent control free regions. Yeah, we stick to markets that are rent control free. We do have one property in DC, but that property does not is exempted from rent control because it was built after that period of time. So we're focusing on markets that have a very high potential for growth, where people are migrating to, where jobs are migrating to. We love the Southeast. We did a lot of research about the Southeast, and we saw the growth potential that was in the Southeast. That's one of the reasons why we decided to focus in on that market. And that's one of the reasons where Tenny took that leap of faith to sell his house and move down to North Carolina, so that we could have a long-term growth in that market. So we're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. We're looking into Alabama as well, looking in some pocket markets in Mississippi, And we're also looking at some of those southeastern markets that have very, very high highway connectivity. Because of the boom in e-commerce right now, a lot of those markets that have good highway connectivity are growing tremendously. So we love those southeastern markets. That's what we're focusing on. But I know with our acquisition plan for 2022, we do plan on expanding to other markets. So Tenny wants us to look all over the country, but he wants us to buy everything, but we got to try to stay focused a little bit.
Yeah, so when you look at the trends over the past decade, there's been a migratory trend of people moving from the northern US, from the eastern US, and from the far western US to, places like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Florida, and folks from the west also are moving to places like Phoenix, Arizona, Boise, Idaho, a little more inland in California. So it's and those places are the places seeing a lot of population growth. So the way that we select our target markets is we look at the general migratory trends, the population growth. We look at the median income growth. We look at job growth in the market. And when you have that trifecta, and also obviously we look at rent growth in the market. When you have the combination of those things, then you have a winner. You have a market that is a winner. And we truly believe that Columbia, South Carolina is one of those winners. We think Charleston, South Carolina is a winner. Greenville is a winner. We think Charlotte, North Carolina is a winner. It's just real super competitive right now. Even places, little pockets like Spartanburg, we think Atlanta is a winner. We think even smaller markets in Georgia, things like Augusta, things like Savannah, Georgia, they are small pockets. Real estate is obviously hyper-local, and we make sure to do our due diligence in the localities that we are currently present in. I think Com was asking somebody else was asking, Anne was asking, can you guys share your top 3 podcasts to listen to other than Bigger Pockets? That's awesome.
So maybe we'll each share one.
Yes, one that I go to is the Best Real Estate Show by Joe Fellis and his group.
Best ever.
Best ever, yeah.
Best ever. That's
a good one.
Say that too. Yeah.
And then for acquisition, the one that I look at a lot is the one that's hosted by Dan Halford by passiveinvesting.com. I listen to that a lot. They've taught me a lot of stuff when it comes to acquisition. So I'll let Leslie and Julius talk about other ones.
I love Whitney Sewa's podcast too. That's another great one. It really asks a lot of probing, strong questions. So I love that particular podcast too.
And All Capital podcast is also good. It has a bunch of a good guests, a good variety of guests that come in there. And don't just focus on multifamily podcast. Listen to other podcasts that have to do with your mindset, because a lot of this is a mental game for you to be able to see yourself as being able to go after this larger asset. So listen to other stuff that talk about the mind and how you could grow your mind as well. That can help you in the journey as well.
It's awesome.
And Mr. Triplet, Tennessee is a good market as well. We just haven't looked at it yet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we are not able to take a look at all the fantastic markets, but we just pick and choose which ones we can handle right now, and we are finding some good deals in those markets because we're starting to become established in those markets. I think Com has another question. Leslie, you want to take that?
About leverage.
Yeah.
So what was the question?
Can you speak to the value of leverage? A lot of newer investors think that they understand real estate because they own a home. We know commercial assets and the amount of leverage available makes it a completely different opportunity. How do you clarify the impact of leverage to newer investors as a way to create opportunity value? What is your story?
That's more of a question for Tenny.
Sorry, what was the question?
Oh, yeah. The guy wasn't paying attention. So let's let Leslie answer.
No, I'm trying to get the list of podcasts for Elizabeth.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
So the best way that's one of the powerful tools about that's one of the powerful tools in multifamily investing or investing in commercial real estate, because you could leverage, like for example, we are raising $5.7 million to buy a $17 million asset. The government is providing us debt to cover, non-recourse debt for that matter, which means that the building guarantees the debt to buy that asset. So by raising a small amount of that money, we own the deal. Yes, we have to pay back the debts and everything, but a lot of the growth that we experience on the property with that small amount that we're going, it all get distributed to the ownership group, which includes ourselves and the investors. So for 25%, coming up with 25%, you could own an asset that continues to yield like a huge amount of dividends moving forward. Because all the cash flow, the gains that you make, it comes back to you as long as you continue to pay your initial debt. And with these properties, which appreciate significantly as the income grows, you could build a great amount of wealth. Because right now in a 5-cap market, for example, a single dollar increase in rent increases the value on the building by $20, right? So by having a $12 million building, which we put in about $5 million to purchase, and taking advantage of the rent growth that's going on, we are able to appreciate that building by $4.7 million, which is almost 100% of what we put in to buy the building within the first 6 months, right? So, and we anticipate that over the next 18 months, we should be able to surpass that number significantly. So at that point, we could sell that building, pull out our initial capital, and all we got to do is pay back the bank for whatever leverage that they put up upfront, take back the initial capital, and we could share it with a group of owners. So that's the power of multifamily investing that you could really use to leverage your growth as well.
Yeah, we've also.
I'm gonna need to jump off, but I'll let my partners continue.
No worries. Thank you so much, Leslie. We've also posted, for those that are not familiar with the land bank lofts deal, we've also just posted that. We actually 80% committed. Thank you for reminding me, Braden, committed on this deal at this point. But if you are interested, please click the landing page, check it out. Even just to kind of see how we structure these deals. If you're not familiar with this yet, this may not be the deal for you. It may not be a good fit for your portfolio. I have not seen someone who's told me that yet, but some people may not be ready yet, but it's still a good deal to just review and get familiar with how this thing is structured. If you have any questions, we are more than happy to answer those questions. Jimmy Shores is hitching to send his money in for the funds for the land bank deal. I think we should be able to start taking money within the next week or so, and hopefully we'll fund it over the next 3 weeks or so. Yeah. So, but we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to review the subscription document, the private placement memorandum, the operation agreement, so that you confirm all the things that we've projected to you for you. And once you've reviewed those things, then you can go forward and send your money, and it'll be first come, first serve. We've been fortunate in our last 2 deals to oversubscribe. So we expect the same thing to happen with this one. And hopefully, it will be first come, first serve. Whoever sends their money in first will get into the deal, and we'll move on to the next one. So are there any other questions?
Also, if you don't mind, if you got some goals that you want to share with the group as well, we might be able to give some insight. Since we're talking about goals and crushing your goals in 2022. So if anybody's open to sharing their goals and they know that we can be of help, we would love to give you some insight on certain things that you can do, or strategy, or who you need to connect with. I'll give you an example. We have a particular opportunity we're looking at right now. And the only way we're able to start moving the needle from where we are now to the next steps is because, somebody said, I know this person, and I reached out to that person and say, listen, do you know somebody that can do this? And they did an introduction, and now we're kind of moving forward towards achieving a particular goal that we set for ourselves. So you sharing it, there's somebody in this group that might have an insight on certain things that you can do to achieve it, or we might have an insight. So we would love to hear from some of you all if you have some goals that you're willing to share that we can provide some insight or guidance on.
Absolutely. And before you do that, I think Com was saying that the last deal I saw of yours was extremely conservative in the underwriting. That's our hallmark, that we pride ourselves in that. That was great, but I don't remember if you had an underwriting walkthrough video. Is that something you have done with this deal? That's something we've been doing with investors as they required it, but also we are more than happy to do it during the webinar, which we'll have a webinar tomorrow. If you want to jump on there and you want to, go into some details about how we have stress test the deal, then we'll be more than happy to do that. We pride ourselves on transparency in that sense. And also, as part of the presentation deck, we put a sensitivity analysis just to kind of see what the returns would be if the cap rates were further compressing or if the cap rate starts to go up significantly. So if you check out the presentation deck, you'll be able to see that too. And for those of you that may not understand exactly all the jargons that I'm saying, don't worry about it. Just stick with us. As you join us, as we start to get to know each other a little more, you will start to learn all this jargons. You will start to get very comfortable with learning all of this different things that are very specific to real estate and in some cases multifamily real estate. So anybody want to share their goals? We have a lot of people on video right now, and what I usually like to do for those on video is just have people introduce themselves. Talk a
Sharon
little
raised
bit.
her hand.
Oh, I think Sharon raised her hand, so we'll start with Sharon for sure. But after that, and please don't shut off your videos now because I'm about to. Yeah. So, but we just want you to introduce yourself. We love to get to know the incredible, fantastic people that we have on our platform, and just to share about what you're doing, what your thoughts are. Maybe what you're doing in real estate, if you're doing anything in real estate currently. But Sharon, take it away.
Hello, my name is Sharon Johnson. I live in Clinton, Maryland, not far from you guys. We met before. And I love your story because it kind of parallels mine. I was born in Jamaica, grew up in New York City, went to Howard University. I know one of you went to Howard. And I'm a physician assistant. I work at the VA, so I work with veterans, and I love philanthropy. I have gone on a couple of trips to Jamaica doing healthcare for the poor. So I'm interested in that trip that you're talking about to Nigeria. So put me on that list. But I want to move from my 401k, the golden handcuffs as they call it, to retire into real estate. That is my goal. I'm passively investing actually with Viking Capital in in Houston and in Marietta, Georgia. And I am we have a 30 unit. I partnered with Quattro Capital in Stanley, North Carolina. So that's a 30 unit. So the goal, I guess, I would love to have 500 units by the end of this year. You gotta put it a little high to get there.
Love that.
So, my husband's an accountant. He does my underwriting. I've come to your underwriting classes on Tuesday. We're constantly underwriting things. The cap rates are just not quite where we would like them to be. So, but we're still getting deals in. So I would love to be able to, maybe, I don't know if you guys sponsor or partner, if we find something that's it's your interest. I'm always looking for people to network with, grow with, build with. One of my underwriters, I think, is on this call. I invited him. I said, hey, we got to get on this to just networking and meeting people. I was trained through RE Mentor. And I definitely get on, their training programs and meetups and commercial meetups. So I'm always on these kind of group calls, just meeting people. And so, yeah, that's my goal. And just wanted to.
So Sonia, I'm going to ask you a question real quick.
Sure.
So 500 unit. First, how did you break that down? First quarter, how many units do you want to do first quarter?
Oh, we got to be very specific. I mean, like I said, right now, actively only 30. So I want to grow that in that area to 100 because the they want to be able to, the management wants to be able to have 100 in the area. So I'm actively really looking in Charlotte to get at least 70 more units there. So that's the first goal.
So Sharon, may I make a suggestion?
Sure.
We also started to look at our goals through the number of units being acquired. But I would challenge you to start to think about your goals in the form of the cash flow that you're going to, or the fees or whatever it is that you're going to acquire from that deal, because that's really what matters at the end of the day, right?
True.
But
depending on where it is, that's going to be different. So you kind of can say 10,000 per month. That's the goal that we set. But but if you do that in Florida, it's going to be different than if you do that in DC.
Absolutely. Because 100 units in Tampa is going to be different from 100 units in Boondocks, South Dakota. Even some places are hot in South Dakota now, but it's different. So I would challenge you to start thinking about it in that regard, because that's how you.
I mean, I used to say 10,000 a month. It would be great income. Absolutely. I want to supplement my 401k.
Absolutely. So break that down. Reverse engineer it. What do you need to be doing on a daily basis, weekly basis, quarterly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis, to be able to achieve that quarterly goal you have, and then take it from there. And then you have to have an accountability partner, since you have a fantastic partner in your husband, to be like, Sharon, you're not doing this. You're not doing.
I'm still actually in coaching with RE Mentor, so I do have an accountability.
Fantastic, even better. Yeah. That's awesome. In the
interest
of time,
we went through RE Mentor as well. That's one of the mentors.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still I'm coaching with Jermaine, so everybody knows Jermaine. So
everybody knows Jermaine.
Yeah.
Clarence, we'll let you go.
Awesome. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much. And at 17, met my beautiful wife, and we landed in Charlotte about 15 years ago. So I've been here for a while. I'm in a data and analytics space. So I was a director of data and analytics at a pretty big financial services company. Done a lot of work in that. What led me over into that was technology. So I've been a programmer for the last, 20 years or so, and kind of just morphed that over into data and analytics. And it was actually someone in my LinkedIn network that connected with me and said that my skill set would transfer over to multifamily investing pretty good. And kind of got me wondering. I've been huge in the stock market for years and stuff like that. Like I invested in Tesla when they IPO'd, and I did pretty good over there. So, but looking at other things now, and so for the last about 8 months or so, I kind of left my job and started doing some consulting on the tech side, and all along hunting for multifamily. So all apartment buildings and mobile home parks as well. I've actually had a few offers in. And I've been going at this the wrong way. I've been looking at this, how do I do this myself? How do I tackle this, completely on my own? And I've gotten some really good ones, mobile home parks that are in like the boondocks, like just out there. But I couldn't find any property management that would actually help me out enough. So I started to learn a little bit more. I've been on LoopNet, and I'm literally that guy that's cold calling everyone that I know. And I started meeting a lot of people, got some NFL players, and just over the phone from LoopNet, telling me, hey, well, why don't you look into syndication? Why don't you look into, building a team and this and that? And so for the last 2 or 3 months or so, that's really what I've been doing, is connecting with brokers here in Charlotte. I've actually started taking my South Carolina. I live in Fort Mill, South Carolina. I started taking my real estate license, tests and stuff like that exam. So I'm preparing for that. I'm just really building the team, building up the network, and gearing up to, I don't know, maybe I will come in as an LP. But from my angle, what I've been looking at over the last year is starting out as a GP. So I'm still learning, but I'm connecting with folks like you all. I think this year is going to be pretty doggone good. My goal is 60K a year in passive. So
that is beautiful. That is amazing.
Clarence, I'm in Steel Creek. I moved down to Steel Creek. I'm really close to you.
You guys should definitely connect out in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Tenny, I already sent you a message on LinkedIn, buddy. So I'm going to cold call everybody on here. So just
awesome. I think we'll have some more conversations. I think there's a lot to like break down in what the things that you said. And there's a lot to tease out in there. And don't be afraid of investing as an LP too in other deals. It doesn't even have to be our deal, but because you want to grow your wealth too, except if you just like keeping that money in the bank and having it, lose value with inflation with every year that passes. So you probably want to consider, even for us, we invest in every single one of our own deals. And I still invest in other people's deals, just because I want to grow my wealth that fast. So that I would say that, and definitely, just like we said earlier, you want to go fast, you go by yourself. You want to go far, wide, make the greatest impact, go with others. So thank you so much for sharing that. Sonia?
Yes, sir.
Hello, how are you?
What's up, Sonia? How are you?
Good. So I live about an hour from Pittsburgh, for those who don't know me. And then we also have a second home outside of Baltimore, up into Pennsylvania, Stewartstown. So I've made connections in both areas. So I'm currently in 5 LP deals, plus we own our own real estate. So some of my goals for this year is my uncle has 20 units that we would like to purchase off of him before the end of 2022 that we would own ourselves.
Nice.
Also, I want to continue invest. I would like to be a co-GP, maybe on a partnership deal. And then actually my husband and I are, because he has a construction background, we're going to start doing custom modular home building. And we're going to start off with single family homes. So this will be an opportunity for investors that maybe want to invest while they're waiting for that next deal, that their funds could be tied up for, probably up to a year, 6 months to a year. So that would be like a short-term investment that some investors might be interested in, because then your money's not tied up for that 3 to 5 to 7, 10 years, whatever, particularly that multifamily is. We do want to move in eventually into either townhouse modular home building or even apartments. There's a company that we're looking at right now that had built in 2017 an apartment complex, 36 units in Philly. All in purchase was 6.7 million, and they sold it several months later for 9.2 million. So I think that anybody that follows modular home building, I think that is going to be the way of the future. But we don't want to just jump right into, the multifamily modular home building space, but that is a goal. I don't know if we'll get into that this year, but we're at least going to get into the single family custom modular home building.
That's great.
Space.
I mean, one step at a time, right? So
right.
And the lessons you learn from that, maybe you then multiply it and take advantage of the economics of scale with multifamily. So
right.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Sonia. The next person is Elizabeth Marshall, and next would be on my page right here, Dr. Charmaine Baker. And then after that will be Orpheus Triplet and Laurent. And those are the people I have on camera. So let's get to it. Elizabeth?
I am Liz Marshall. That over there is my husband.
Hello, sir.
I am a plastic surgeon in Baltimore, and my husband is a general surgeon at the VA in Washington, D.C. The goal is strictly to learn. This is very new for us. My husband and I own quite a bit of real estate, but it's mostly all single family homes and land in Virginia. But I got connected, obviously, through you guys, through Bonnie Mason, who you know well. She said you want to look at this with me. And so there's a lot of terminology that I don't know. I mean, basics. So I need to start from scratch. Like, you know, you guys dropped this word underwriting. I'm like, okay, what's underwriting, Harry? We don't know. He's like, why don't you ask? I said, I don't want to ask because I'm going to look. But obviously, you know, when you're in medicine for a very long time, 15, 20 years, and that's all you've done, all this stuff is really like going back to, you know, kindergarten. So we have a lot to learn, but we like to learn new things, and we'll see. So.
Absolutely. Dr. Marshall, thank you so much. And
say, Harry?
One thing we could learn is what is an underwriter?
What is an underwriter? It's one thing we could
so pretty much underwriting is the way that we are able to make some assumptions on the deal that we are about to buy and figure out exactly how to make the business plan work. We underwriting these deals to say, you know what are the revenues that are going to come in? What are the expenses? You know, what are we projecting into the near future? And what are the potential other sources of revenue that we can generate from that building? This is literally like a business that we're buying. So what we want to do is try to increase the revenue, decrease the expenses, thereby increasing the net operating income. Just like Leslie said earlier, by increasing in a market with a cap rate of 5%, by increasing the revenue by $1, you literally increase the value of the property by $20. So 20x of what you are able to increase the net operating income by. So it's very powerful in that regard. So what the underwriting does is helps us make all these different assumptions about what we need to do and to even justify to us if this is a deal worth buying in the first place. So and that's pretty much it. But we'll be educating you over the next several months, years, however long you remain in our community. We'll love to continue to share everything we know with you so that we can continue to grow together. In the interest of time, Tenny, I just need to get Dr. Baker, Combe, Orpheus, and Lauren. I'm sorry. Thank you. Dr. Baker, go.
Hi, my husband, Ronald Baker, my better half, he was the one that invited me on tonight, but we're in I would say a transition. We moved from Tennessee to Atlanta, and I'm a pediatrician, practiced for 20 years, and I want to do something different. I know that the skills that I obtained, I think they can be transferred into other areas, and being associated with other people is so important. We were involved with a group of other physicians called the IROCO group, and we were talking about doing what you have done and done successfully, but we didn't know how. And listening to you and I just want to learn. I want to be able to be a fly on the wall and just learn, because it is a new language, and I don't know what I don't know. So I would love to be a part and continue just to listen, to learn, and to also to implement. I had a friend that's from Kenya, and she said to me, you're not a tree, you're not stuck. And one thing about medicine, I felt stuck because I worked so hard to become a physician, but we can do other things as well as medicine. So I appreciate just just seeing you just encourages me. And, you know, the fact that I'm speaking on this is incredible because I'm usually the one like, okay, someone else someone else do it. But, you know, this is a new year, new mindset, and I'm
I love it.
thanking God.
Getting
doing
into that
something new.
uncomfortable zone where you could continue to grow
Absolutely.
incredibly and having that identity shift that, you know, you're not just a pediatrician, you are actually a pediatrician in whatever else you want to be, you know, and that's incredible.
Boss lady.
Boss, I love it. The pediatrician and boss lady. I love it. Thank you, Doc. Combe?
Hey, first off, I want to say that what you guys have done at XSITE Capital, I've reached out and I've called Tenny before. Your underwritings are something that you should be really proud of. I helped raise about $65 million over 15 deals, and so I have exposure to a lot of the BS that other syndicators post. And sometimes when I noticed that you'd have 10% vacancy rates in a market that has 3% vacancy, those are things that unexperienced investors don't recognize. So just the transparency and the fact that you guys are truly looking out in your investors' long-term interest is something that I think you are being almost too humble about, because people don't really know it unless they look at your deals. And I have about 150K that I'm going to get out on a deal next month, and I'm seriously considering your stuff. But background on me, yeah, absolutely. Background on me, if anybody's interested in the Texas market or just different data on Texas specifically, I could share that. I know that these guys focus on the Southeast, and they put out wonderful deals. But
Holmes, I'm beginning to look in Texas, man.
Well, definitely call me. We just bought another 176 units. We closed last week, and the unique thing about that opportunity was that the property, and this is very unusual, but the property had been owned by someone for 28 years. Now, in the last 10, 11 years, we've had some of these assets have changed hands 2 and 3 times. And so the juice, the value's been squeezed out of a lot of these assets, which is why I know on your first solo deal, I know that you guys overwrit about 100 deals before you actually found something to feel comfortable to present to your investors.
Absolutely.
And it's important you say that, because there's a lot of people in certain education groups that just pump out their first deal and they put in trash returns.
Yep.
And I had an investor call me the other day and say, I don't like your returns on this project. And I said, well, what returns do you want? I'll just change the Excel, garbage in, garbage out. You know, these are, you know, it's like, so, but the value I can bring is I can probably connect a lot of you with people that might be able to get you more information about Texas related I-35 projects.
That's awesome. Yeah, please drop your information in the chat, please, Combe. Okay. And yeah,
this is my friend right here. I don't know if you know this guy.
Oh yeah.
nice background.
Event, right?
Nice background. We love it. We love it. Orpheus, can you please introduce yourself? And then we have Laurent, and then we will wrap up.
Yeah, I'm Orpheus, and I'm from the Memphis area. I'm a dentist. So after like 20 years of private practice, I moved into academia. So now I'm like a university professor and assistant dean in the College of Dentistry. But now I'm a newcomer to all of this. So you guys are way up the road. I'm sort of wanting to eat your dust and track you, you know. So just as Elizabeth said, with she and her husband, I'm in a learning mode. So I want to sort of learn some of this early on in my private practice. I dabbled in residential real estate. I had a real estate license, and I'd take an extended lunch break, go out and show a property. And I also bought a couple of properties, but I couldn't juggle all of that. So I had to finally choose, what am I going to do and do well, you know? So I did dentistry and did my practice. So now I would like to get involved in something like this.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking forward to learning more about the industry and moving forward with it. So those will be my goals for 2022.
Thank you, Dr. Triplett. Really appreciate you. And definitely welcome to XSITE Capital. We look forward to being part of your growth for sure. Laurent, last but not least.
Hello, how's it going? Good evening, everybody. My name is Laurent. I'm from the Southeast Virginia area. So I got into this just basically off wanting to learn more about multifamily real estate. Actually, my father He owns like a trucking and tire business. We own a lot of land in the area. And I started looking into multifamily more so off my last living situation where I was in a multifamily, unit or renting from a multifamily like place. And, I just remember living in the area that whole multifamily home never used to be there. And how could they fit such a small, in such a small space, so many units. So I started looking more into it, and I set a goal for this year to like just learn more about multifamily. Of course, some of my family thinks I'm crazy, just you stick with the family business. But again, as you guys spoke earlier, to like shifting your identity into something that's, rather than just me and being more so in the family business, I see the opportunities that are in real estate to where the sky's the limit in multifamily. So I definitely want to learn more, as everybody said, and I appreciate all the transparency, and I'm willing to learn. So
thank you so much, Laurent. And we appreciate you joining us.
Yep.
And we look forward to being able to contribute significantly to your growth. Continue to come to these meetups. I think we have all your email addresses. We'll send you a copy of this meetup, and also we'll send you information as we move forward, so that you can continue to learn on this platform. And with that, I think we're 1 minute above time. I apologize for that, but we thank you so much for being here today. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with us. We do not take that for granted as XSITE Capital. We are totally humbled and look forward to being able to collaborate with you moving forward. And for those that are new to our platform, welcome, welcome, welcome again. Once again, Happy New Year. And may this year bring a lot of blessings and a lot of joy and a lot of accomplishments to you all. I look forward to interfacing with you as we move forward. Thank you, Tenny. Thank you, Leslie, for being my co-host. Braden, thank you. And everybody, we look forward to seeing you next month. First Monday of every month, we'll be here. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Appreciate you all.
Hey, Tenny.